Hello, my name is Zenonos-Walker. I have been teaching for 15 years, 8 of which have been as a senior leader, and my specialism is obviously drama. If you want to follow me on Twitter, my Twitter handle is @Zenonos-Zena. So my session today is about the importance of relationships and how these can be transformational for the young people in our classrooms. Some questions I need you to think about and revisit throughout your career is: what is your why? Why did you decide to become a teacher? What do you want to be remembered for? So what will your legacy be? Are you likeable? If not, why not? And what are you a teacher of? Self-reflection here is key, and unfortunately as teachers we don't get much time to be self-reflective. But I would urge you to take some time out and revisit these questions whenever you're thinking about your career. So how do you, or will you, set the tone in your classroom? The culture, behaviour and values that you hold in your classroom will have a direct impact on the students that you teach. So what are your values? And how will you role model these consistently every lesson, every single day? Again, what are you a teacher of? Rita Pearson is absolutely fantastic, and if you have the time, go to TED Talks and look at Every Kid Needs a Champion. She talks about how young people do not learn from people they do not like. Your job is not simply to teach, and the student's job is not simply to learn. End of story. You'll find that you'll have a very, very difficult career ahead of you. So what makes a good teacher? And here, I really want you to think about your own school experience. Which teachers made a positive impact on you and why? How did they treat you? How did they speak to you? And more importantly, how did they make you feel? Because we might think that a teacher's job is to teach the content, student learns the content, student makes progress, student then gains the credentials they need to be successful for their future. But what if a student struggles to learn the content? What do we do then? Something I really wish that someone had told me prior to my NQT year was that building relationships would be the single most important thing I could do in my teaching career. Because we're not just teachers, we are mentors, we are life coaches, we are role models, we are caregivers, communicators, we empathise, we are advisors. And relationships can be built regardless of the policies that are in place in your school. How is down to you as the adult in the room. Do you seek to understand before you seek to be understood? Some top tips. Read a book called When Adults Change, Everything Changes by Paul Dix. It's fantastic. And some tips that he gives you, and tips I have been doing for many, many years, is thinking about how you meet and greet your children at the door. Are you smiling? Are you waving at them? Are you asking them how their day has been so far? How they're feeling? Are you gauging the temperature of your class, of your groups of students as they come through the door? Never ever name and shame the behaviours on the board that you don't want to see. Advertise the behaviours that you do want to see. So if Zena is sat down doing her starter activity, Zena, you're doing really well, excellent, thank you for doing that. Know your routines and be consistent every lesson, every day. You should have some whole school routines for entrance and exits. If you know these well, like the back of your hand, your lesson should go really smoothly. Responding to behaviours calmly, because once you shout, you've lost the battle. And sometimes we have young people who really want to push us to the point where we're trying to test to see how far they can go. Praise in public and have that quiet word with students that need that attention in private. So clear boundaries and extra high expectations. Don't ever take things too personally. We need to change our language around the families, the children and the communities that we have within our school. So instead of saying a child has challenging behaviour, we're calling it distress behaviour. Instead of saying a child is attention seeking, they're attention needing. A difficult child is a child with difficulties, and a troubled family is a family with troubles. I got this information from a fantastic man called Mark Finnis, and you can follow him at their Twitter handle at the bottom of the page. The 4 ways of being are really important. So how will you ensure that your teaching practice does things with young people rather than to them? So if you look at the axes, you've got challenge and support. If you're somebody who has high challenge and low support, you have a more punitive approach, therefore you're doing things to children. If you have low challenge but high support, you do things for children, you're in that rescue mode, which is equally as damaging. Essentially, if you're doing none of them, I'll be honest, that's neglectful practice. And we want to be in the with box, where we're doing things with young people. some suggested reading here. And unfortunately, that's my whistle-stop tour. If you have any questions, I'll be gladly, I'll be happy to answer them. Thank you.